And it came to pass that, Yatisha, who was a large gentleman and the oldest son of Father Noah, so Yatisha is the firstborn and was large and gentleman, had heard from the brigades who had been converted when they came to avenge the escape of one of their own, that the women in Helia beautified themselves to be enticing to look at, and they described it to him in great details. So one of the sons of Noah is hearing about the beautification of women. He's hearing about the power of Asael, the fallen one. Okay, so let's see what he did. And after they departed to travel with the people of Avad, he could not get it off his mind. And he decided he would go there to see, but he didn't know for sure what he wanted or what he was looking for. But he ventured out against the strong edge of the spirit, being heavily wrought upon by the lying spirit of Bed and Azael. So if people are fleeing from Babylon, if you look in the continent, the youth, they can't get it out of their mind, the beautifications, the shiny things of Babylon. They are told life is easy, so they are dying, crossing the seas, smuggling themselves into Babylon, just like this son of the elder son of Noah. But why? They are venturing out against the strong edges of the spirit, being heavily wrought upon by the lying spirit of Bed and Azael. This is the reality that we experienced. And the year that Yatisha became Japheth. So you see, this is what I said before. The Bible is holy. It's written by prophet. But I can't, knowing what I know now, maybe it's lack of spiritual enlightenment, but we see things, it seems we see things from perspective of the wicked. So after this first son of Noah backslided in his faith, that year Yatisha became Japheth. Was the hardest year for those who remained in Lebanon. So when he went to Helia, because he couldn't get rid of the thought of those beautiful women who had beautified themselves according to the direction of Bed or Satan and Azael. That was the hard hit. It hit the righteous very, very hard because it was unbearable. And it came to pass, or should I say, now let me read a bit. And it came to pass, 22, that Yatisha just walked openly into the valley of Helia, down the central path beside the lake. So he walked, he paraded, he strolled majestically into Helia, in the valley of Helia. And some of the inhabitants sitting along the way espied him, and they set up a cry that one dressed like a Qatari was coming. One dressed like a righteous, one of the righteous was coming. One dressed like a holy man was coming. And he had on fine linen garments. And the slaves in Helia were dressed in rags. And Yatisha was surprised that they took him, and he offered no resistance, and they bound his hands. And the people began to gather, and they said, "Make way for us to pass." And they took him to stand before his master. So he was told people they were really, really beautiful. The women were beautiful. But when he walked into the valley of Helia, into the city of Helia. The people were dressed in rags. And okay, still looking at that, and they took him. Actually, they were surprised because at the time, the righteous and the wicked were not mixing in their lives. But him coming, without being summoned, without being dragged there, it was one of the biggest surprises. So, they are parading him, directing him to the master. 23, and they said, Master, we have found a Qatari in our midst. And the master of Sanko said, he must be highborn by the clothes he wears. And he said to Yatisha, what are you doing here? And all the people were quiet to listen. And one who would interpret but put the question to Yatisha. So there was someone from that who knew the language of the holy ones. So he was interpreting, and Yatisha said, I came to see your women, to see how they conduct themselves. And when it was translated to the masters, he laughed. And those close to him also, they laughed. But the servants were sober, and the master said, we will show you. And he gave a command and said, go and fetch one of the daughters of Makkah. And they pushed forward into the center a servant woman who was dressed in rags. So you see the irony. This is what is happening. We are crossing from the continent into the Western world, expecting to walk into paradise. And you get there, you see women dressed in rags, you see men dressed in rags. The lifestyle that you thought you were going to, only to realize you are living a better life, you are better off. And she had just come from her labors. She was unkept and filthy. And as I wondered in my mind about Makkah, a vision of him came before my eyes, and he was an evil man. So this was the daughter of an evil man. And he was standing beside his dwelling, and he was cunning and vile and lazy, and he had sold his daughters into slavery in trade for his winter provisions. And year by year, he had traded them until he had no more. And then he began to steal girls and women to sell, in so much that he had no longer had to labor. And for his provision throughout the year, it was by his hand that many of the daughters of the people lost their opportunity for their gift of life and fulfillment of their visions. So this man, he was so done that he could even say, he ended up selling his own daughters into slavery. And they infringed into the gift of life and visions of all these people that were sold. So this is what we are doing here, especially in the continent, and I'll say maybe it's happening everywhere. The enticements for a better living somewhere where you are given free entry. At times, not even a passport is required during the process. Not even a sum of a penny is required out of you. You'll make money when you get there, only to find that you have been sold into slavery. This is happening, and it's at its highest level. Why? These are the signs of the falling away. So those are the people that Yatisha Japheth is finding. 27. And it was considered by all in Helia that a daughter of Makkah was the lowest form of human being. Even in Babylon, they considered the daughter of Makkah, the slave master, or the human trafficker. The daughter was considered to be the lowest form of human being. And they presented her to Yatisha and said, here is your woman of Helia. Oh, you came here to Babylon for women. Okay, this is the woman. Now you can see how they conduct themselves. And all the women of Hazael were greatly amused and joined in their ridicule. For the women who had fallen for the spirit of Hazael. 28. And the master said, take him to his labors. And they were hard on Yatisha. So the gentleman who walked on his own into Babylon, into Helia, is given a filthy clothed woman who is a slave, the lowest of all the women, according to their standard. And worse, he is now taken to his labors. And they were hard on Yatisha, and they pushed the woman towards him. So now he's attached to this daughter of Makkah. And she would have fallen, but he caught her, and he refused to take her, but they forced her to go with him. So this is the woman that you came for. Take her. Say, no. It can't be her. They said the women are really, really good and enticing to look at. So these are the false promises. Babylon is falling. The luxury cannot be found. The standard are not there. They were never there. For she is the mother of all harlots. And they said, let us have his clothes. But the master said, no. So now they want to strip him naked to take the good clothes. If Babylon was that rich, why would they want the clothes of a... I'll just say he's a priest for now, although he didn't even qualify because only Melchizedek became the priest. So the clothes of a righteous man, they are fighting over them, just like they fought over the clothes of the Messiah at the cross. And the master said, no, it will be sport to let him wear them in the labors as he goes on. It will be mockery to him. Let him work wearing those righteous clothes. And 30. And it came to pass that they took the son, the elder son of Noah, who is the brother of the waters. So the elder son of the Noah, his guardian angel is the waters. He's a brother to the waters. And the one who established cycle drawing. Okay. So I'll say he was a man of service here. So he was a cycle drawer, was a brother to the waters. He could command the waters. And they put him to work as a slave in the marshes, gathering roots for provisions. And only the lowest, the lowliest slaves were given that task. So he became even worse than a slave. Is it not happened to our brothers who cross over, who are dying in the oceans? Does it not happen to our sisters who are besmuggled with a promise of better lives? It is. And I see him wading in the mud and muck. I'm butchering some of these words. Reaching down to the length of his arms to pull up roots, and his flowing linen garments upon him, which feel being clean. So he's wearing the garments which makes him feel clean. And now he is dipping them in the mud, were a mockery upon him. And the daughter of Makkah was by his side, and he did not take her as a wife. So even the woman that he went to see the one he was given. He couldn't even look at her to take as wife. And it came to pass that not long after this thing, Noah inquired with the Lord if he could learn more about the people in Helia and their wickedness. And the Lord bid him travel throughout the valley of Helia. And Noah exclaimed to the Lord that the people would not let him go there. And the Lord said, tell them that I will provide watch over you. So Noah wants to move from Africa to take a look at Babylon a little bit. I'm using just a comparison here. So he wants to move from Ebenem to Helia to see how the level of wickedness there, to learn more about the people in Helia, because he's supposed to call judgment onto them. And it came to pass that Noah became determined that he would go forth alone, and he decided he would not tell the people, because it was also in his mind to look for Yatisha. And so he set out alone and did not disclose what he was about to do, and they thought he was going only a short ways. 34. And Noah walked many of the pathway of Helia, but did not discover anything about his son. And the evil of the place came upon his eyes, and he was astonished beyond measure. Never could he have forecast the extent that the evil would go. He being a righteous and holy man. So he's there and he can't believe his eyes. The filthiness, the wickedness. Can't believe it. He couldn't believe him being a righteous and holy man, living in the settlement of Ebenem, in the holy city. So Ebenem, which referred to the stones of Botan and Iona. So the stones that were the stones. So we talked about Menorah bush. We talked about Yatisha being a brother to the waters. The Ebenem is named after the stones. Those are the holy watchers, the spirit of creation, or the spirit of life that gives life to these elements. So this city of Ebenem was named after these women, Botan and Iona. Iona being the wife of Methuselah, and Botan be the daughter of, I think the daughter of the brother of Botan be the wife of Lamech. So both Botan and Lamech are the grandsons of the grandfathers is Enoch and his brother, heralding their innocence and purity before the Lord. So the stones, the white stone, this was a white stone, and it heralded their innocence and purity before the Lord. So these were holy women. And Noah returned home heavily burdened for the Lord and for his son. And about this time, Patisha, son of Melchizedek, heard of it, that his grandfather could find no trace of his son Yatisha. And he, being a steward and brave lad, set about to enter into to fulfill his vision, to redeem in the hope of the harvest of salvation. 36. And he found a bundle of discarded clothing that the brigade had put aside when they were given new clothes as they went to travel with Avad, and he put them on. So now he's taking the filthy clothes of the brigands who were already converted and born again and joined the community of Ebenem, and put them on. He put them on and announced his plans to the people, that they were all aghast, but he could not be persuaded to stay home. So he told them, okay, I have to go. I have to go to the Valley of Helia. I have to go to Babylon. And before they knew, he was gone. And they set up a prayer watch for his safety to last until he returned. And Patisha was a traveler who was swift in pursuit of his prey. Was really, really fast. And he fashioned his hair after the manner of the slave in Helia. So he changed his clothes, he changed his hairstyle to look like those in Helia, the wicked ones. And it was hanging down and unkept. And it came to pass that he went down into the lowest region of Helia, into the lake country, and mingled with the slave and their labor there. And no slave master knew who he belonged to, and they welcomed his labor, for he was a devoted worker, and they asked him no questions.